Have you okay, have you ever been on a website that you just didn't like the look of? Or maybe one that didn't have a dark theme, God forbid. Or maybe it just has something on the website you just don't like how every website has these weird little AI chatbots everywhere. Today, I'm gonna show you how to not only find themes created by other people, but create your own custom themes for websites. Full disclosure, we're going to be using CSS to do this, and this is not a CSS tutorial, okay? That is mostly because CSS is infamously terrible, but I'm gonna show you some basic tricks to get started. If you wanna learn more, just ask ChatGPT, how do I do blank in CSS, and you'll probably get a pretty good answer. Okay, back to business. So first off, I just wanna note that we are not going to use Stylish. If you or anybody you know uses Stylish, tell them to uninstall that right away, okay? Because Stylish is actually the more popular way of doing this. And recently, Louis Rossmann, huge privacy and user rights advocate, pointed out that there are some Chrome extensions that steal your data. And the first one in his list was Stylish. Okay, so if you had this extension installed, it would basically keep track of every single website that you went on and then sell it to people so that they would be able to advertise to you more accurately. It was acquired in 2017, and then it was discovered in 2018 that they were doing that. And then just recently, in 2026 of this year, in February of this year, 2026, they got caught doing it again, just a few more steps in between to make it more confusing for people looking for it. So yeah, if you have this extension, uninstall it and do not use it. What we're going to be using is the open source version called Stylus. Now, this thing works great and it's open source, so nice. So we're gonna start with this website, Miro, because it's easy to work with, so it's gonna be easy for me to explain how to do this. So first off, what you want to do is install Stylus. I pinned it so you can see it easily right here. For one, if you are on a website that's really popular like Instagram or Facebook, a lot of people have created custom themes for them already. So if you go to find, you see there's only 2 for this website, and they got some interesting pictures. But if you click one, you can install it. That one didn't even do anything. And that one destroyed the website. So your mileage may vary. If you want to, you can just take it from there and, you know, find themes for the websites that you already use. Most likely you're already using all the popular ones that people made themes for. But even if you are, you can always make your own. So let's see how. We're gonna click the extension again, and then right here, instead of clicking plus, we're actually gonna click the URL. So in this case, Miro.com. And that'll take you to the place where you create a new, what they call styles, because it's Stylus. So first off, we're gonna change some settings that I think help a lot with like quality of life for this app. For one, I like to use smart indentation, autocomplete on typing, and then change the tab size to 2. Also, at the top right here, enable write new style as user CSS. It changes the UI a little bit, but it makes it a lot easier to work with if you want to maybe publish these in the future and update them. So we can delete this here, and then I'm just gonna split this with Miro on the left side and this on the right side. So now we can kind of see both. So right off the bat, what we're gonna want to do is, you know, test the waters. The first thing you're gonna have to get comfortable with is opening the inspector. So what I want you to do is on your keyboard, either click F12 or click Control-Shift-I for inspector. You might have seen this menu before by mistake if you brought it up, or you're a programmer, which nice. But yeah, this basically lets you see how the website is built and how it's themed already. So if we hover over different things in the inspector on the top half, you can see that over in the website, things are actually being highlighted. And what that means is like, these are actually the things that build the UI in the website. This is the HTML of the website. So you can tell these are the things on the website because if you click one of them, see it's highlighting this section, and you click the delete key on your keyboard, it'll actually delete it from the website. So you may think, oh, that's all we have to do, right? You just deleted it and you changed the website, right? But unfortunately, when you reload the website, it comes back. We want to make it so you can make changes permanently and not just deleting things on the screen, but changing the colors, because that's pretty fun. So let's just undo that with Control Z. And then we'll get into how we're actually going to do this. The first thing that I want to do, I'm not really a big fan of the black icons. Let's change them to something different. What I want you to get used to doing is, so this little button is called the selector. I don't know, we'll call it the picker. You can either just click it or click Control-Shift-C for Chris just told you how to use the picker. So once you do that, if you actually hover over one of the elements on the page, it highlights that element. So this is an easy way to find the HTML associated with different portions of the page. So we'll just click a random icon And then if you go down here, these are the actual styles, the CSS that I mentioned earlier. The HTML controls what is rendered on the page, and the CSS controls how it looks. So a button in HTML is just a basic looking button, but once you apply CSS to it, you can make it look however you want. So there's like basically pre-built items and you can shape them with CSS. In this case, we can scroll down and see that the color of the icon is set to this variable called colors icon default. And it shows you a preview that's this black color that we're seeing on every icon on the website. So you can actually just try changing it and see that we're already changing the colors of the icons on the website because they're all using this value. That's why I use Miro. It's like really well made. It's new. So they're getting a lot better at this stuff. Okay, so that's what we want to change every time we load this website, and that's what Stylus is going to do for us. So let's just undo that change. And then instead of changing the color right here, we can copy the name of this variable. And then the first thing we're gonna do, so we're gonna write a rule that encompasses the entire page by using the HTML tag. And then in there, we can just paste the name of the variable and then write colon and define it as something else. So let's just say red. And if you save it, you see that nothing changed. And this is because this is still really trying to use this value. In order to get around it, we can override it by using a keyword in CSS, which I think people call bang important or something because programmers call this a bang. But if you're a true programmer, you're gonna read this as not important because every single language exclamation point means not. So I always read this as not important. I'm gonna keep reading it that way. It's kind of funny because it actually is important. But you know, the people who wrote CSS, they were on something, all right. Anyway, so we're gonna write not important and then boom. If you click save or Control S, the website has changed. Wow. So if you actually change it to a different value too, like we'll do blue, it updates instantly because we have live preview on right here. So anyway, let's keep it as red. The next thing is I really like using a consistent theme. As you can see from some of the examples I showed you earlier, those were themes that I made, and there's some colors that I've gathered over time that I really like. So these colors come from originally a theme called the Atom 1 Dark theme. It's a popular theme in VS Code, but I think it actually comes from the original Atom IDE that I don't really think people use these days. I don't know, comment if you use Atom. Weirdo. Anyway, I'm gonna paste this color palette here. I'll put it in the description if you want to use it. As you can see, we have some variables that I defined up here. These variables have simple names that allow me to do some pretty cool stuff. So I'm just gonna create a little separation between these two. I'm just gonna write another comment down here and just call this variable overrides. Okay, cool. So that's pretty cool. We changed the icon color, but the reason why I'm changing this is because I really don't like the white background here. You can change the background of like your board in Miro to different colors. I changed it to this nice dark gray, but obviously the white background is not matching that. So let's change that too. So if we use Control-Shift-C for Chris, you can pick something that has that white background. So make sure that you're not picking like one of the sub elements. You're actually picking the one that like the container itself. That's how you can tell. And once you click that, you can see in the styles down here that there is a background color and you can see that like white value. So I'm assuming that this is the right place. We'll just copy this variable and just like the other one, paste it here and then override it as, instead of using a predefined color, we'll use our own variable. So you see how they're using variables here? We can do it too. So we'll write var. I'm just gonna zoom in on those. That'll look nicer. Should have done it earlier, but you know, rip. We'll write var. And then in here, we'll write our own variable name. So let's just do background. And if we save, it doesn't work because we have to write not important. And look at that. There's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. No, it's not as beautiful as the theme that I made for this website. If you use Miro and you search for themes on Stylus, you can use mine because I did publish it. But let's finish this off and get you basically halfway there to the theme that I created and get rid of this stupid freaking AI button that no one's going to use. You're a psychotic if you use that button. Okay, so in order to get rid of stuff, we're going to use Control-Shift-C again for Chris, and then we're gonna highlight it, but you can see that I'm shuffling through a lot of things when I go through here. You wanna make sure you're getting that top level container. So the closest way I'm getting is like right here. So I'll click that. And then what I like to do is just make sure that it is the top level container because sometimes you still didn't get it. These are indented. Okay, that's how you know there's like a hierarchy here. It's indented. So if you actually just go up one, you'll see that the hierarchy continues. And even though I got here when I used Control-Shift-C, the root element seems to be not that one, but this one. So we'll take this one and we can just verify that by deleting it. And as you can see, it is gone. So that is the right one. So let's undo that, Control-Z. And then we'll go back to this one, and we're not gonna look at its existing styles. What we wanna do is just get rid of it, right? And so the best way to do that, there's a lot of ways. And again, feel free to use ChatGPT to just ask. Maybe just take a screenshot of the element you're trying to get rid of and say like, how can I get rid of this easily? In this case, a really nice trick that I learned is you can use these, what are called attributes. So you see this one that's called data test ID equals creation bar top buttons. The other ones seem like gibberish. Class equals, you know, some generated value most likely, but this one seems like a pretty consistent value to me. So just highlight the whole thing and then just copy it. And instead of putting it in the HTML rule, we're gonna create a new rule. And then what we can do is highlight the whole thing, and then on your keyboard, hit the opening square bracket. It's right next to the P key on a standard keyboard. And that'll wrap it in square brackets. And then the curly brace. And then in there, in order to get rid of the item, we just write display : none. And that'll get rid of it. So I think we're just about set. So let's see, if we reload the page, look at that, it's all still there. And that stupid little AI button is gone. But we have this just as stupid, if not way more stupid, pop-up when you load the website. I kept closing it and then cutting the video, but it's starting to piss me off. So let's get rid of that too. Again, Control-Shift-C, and if we hover over it, we get this one, and we can kind of go up in the hierarchy, and it looks like this one sucks because it doesn't have a specific ID. So it really is like a freaking infection that we must expel. So I'll show you the way I'd get rid of this one. It looks like the parent is called center. Now, honestly, there doesn't seem to be anything else in here. So even though the parent looks weird, it kind of takes up the whole vertical part of the screen. Deleting it doesn't change the website. So you can use this one. It has an ID equals center. That's unique, and we can select with that. So in CSS, in order to select by IDs, since ID is like a built-in field that you would normally select things by, you can write hashtag center. And then in this rule, we can write our display none. And look at that. Oh, so much better. So let's reload the website one more time. Oh, beautiful, immaculate. So last but not least, we can rename it. So my cool dark theme, baby. Save it. And then let's close Stylus. And whenever you want, if you ever want to see a website in the original style, you can toggle your theme right here. And that's about it. So if you like that, like the video, I'll like you back, if you know what I mean. And then, yeah, thanks for watching, and let me know if you want any other tutorials. Also, I can make a part 2 on how to publish these. I published a few of them, and even though I told you not to use the other one, Stylish, a lot of people still do, and they have their own browser for themes. So I like to upload my themes there too, so I could show you how to do that, just so people could still use them even when they're being tracked. But yeah, let me know if you want a part 2, and have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.